Hello everybody, welcome back to Tom Reads Things. My name is Tom. I hope you're all very, very, very well. Hello, it's me. Yes, hello everybody, welcome back to Tom Reads Things. I am very, very excited to finally be back with another booktube video. I've missed this, I really have. Yeah, I haven't recorded a video since February, I don't think. I don't even know. I can't even remember what my last video was. But yeah, I've been out of the game for a while. Oh, that sounds a bit dodgy, doesn't it? I've been out of the game for a while. And yeah, this is my first video back. Oh God, I'm getting my glasses are steaming up with the drama of it all. So yeah, this is my first video back. I wanted to do a bit of a kind of cuppa and a catch-up video today and talk a little bit about what I've been reading during lockdown and sort of over the last 6 months really. And just be warned, I haven't been reading that much, and that's kind of why I haven't really been doing booktube videos. So let's backtrack a little bit to, actually, firstly, let's get some tea on the go, shall we? Careful. Careful, everybody. Oh, this is so nice. It smells so nice. If anyone's watched my previous vlogs and seen my glass is sticking up, seen my trips to Samovar Tea House, they have an online store now where you can buy over 130 loose leaf teas, lots of different gifts, coffee and things like that. I'll put a link in the description down below to their website. And if you're in the UK, you can order products and they'll send them to you. Their cake delivery is only local to the Finland area though, so just be aware of that. So anyway, have you got a tea ready? I've got mine ready. Look at this cup. I feel like the Queen Mother when I drink out of this. It's absolutely wonderful. So let's crack on, shall we? Let's cast our minds back to middle of March. That's when I basically got the call from work to say, right, we're in lockdown. We've got to work from home. And I've been working from home ever since. The organisation that I work for kind of relies a lot on two things. It relies on people moving around the world, and it also relies on people being able to gather in large spaces to be able to sit exams. Neither of those things could happen over the last kind of 6 months or so. So I have been working like a crazy beast, which is kind of why I've not been reading so much and why I've not been making booktube videos, because I have been working like a crazy man, trying to basically do what we can to keep things going, keep the wheels in motion. Whilst things are far from kind of settled down now, I do feel like it's time to bring a bit of joy back into my life. And what do I get joy from? Booktube and reading. So I've been reading, I've started to read a bit more, and that is really why I've decided to start doing videos again. So yeah, I hope you've all been really well, and thank you so much for all of the kind of kind words and messages and stuff I've been getting on Instagram and on my booktube videos to say that you hope I'm doing well. Sorry if I've not been able to respond to the comments and things as much as I'd have wanted to. Like I say, it's been pretty crazy with work. So yeah, but I also wanted to recognise that part of the reason I'm back doing this is because I recognise that actually I am in a very I'm in a very lucky position in that I am able to work from home. I do still have a job and I do still have my health, and that is something that over the last 6 months a lot of people aren't as lucky in that respect anymore. So yes, bringing a bit more joy back into my life and cracking on with this again. So without further ado, should we talk about some books? So the first book that I read during lockdown was actually a book that I don't have on me. I don't have a hard copy of it on me at the moment because I've lent it to my sister's girlfriend Laura to read. And that is Bernardine Evaristo's Girl, Woman, Other. So I read this as part of Simon and Melanie's book club, Sykes and Savage book club. And I read it as part of that. I think it was in April, and I think it was the first book that they did as part of their book club. If you haven't seen their book club videos, I'll link the first one in the description down below and you can follow on from there. So yeah, I don't have a hard copy with me to, in traditional booktube fashion, hold up for you, but I really enjoyed it. I think it, you know, I liked the way it looked at. I mean, I'm sure lots of people have read this by now, but I liked the way it looked at certain couples or groups of people. And it was almost like a little bit vignette-y, like a quick glimpse into their life and then moving on to the next one. And then at the end, it all kind of ties up together. The story that I liked the most, I can't remember the name of the characters, and that's absolutely awful, but I can't remember the characters in a lot of books. That's just my my dear memory. Was, I think it was the second story, where it was a female couple, and they had gone to live abroad somewhere, and they were living in part of this kind of community, and it was a kind of real power struggle between that couple, and there was one woman who was one of the women in the couple was very dominating, and that was kind of my favorite of the stories that Bernardine Evaristo kind of touches on throughout that book, and I love the way it all comes together at the end. And I'm growing to love Bernardine Evaristo even more and more and more. I've read Mr. Loverman by her, which Simon picked out for me when we went book shopping in Cambridge, and I absolutely adored it. And I'm really excited actually to see Simon's live that he's doing, Simon from Savage Reads, his live that he's going to be doing with Bernardine Evaristo coming up, which I'm very excited about. Quick step of the old tea. Quick step of the old tea. My dogs haven't been to see me yet. I'm sure they will at some point. I'm sure they'll make an appearance. Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. So the next book that I want to talk about is a book that was very kindly sent to me by the publisher, Manila Press, and that is Charlotte by Helen Moffat. I absolutely adored this book, and it was such a tonic for the kind of start of lockdown when everything was really crazy and everything was up in the air. This was just absolutely brilliant, and I loved it. This is a kind of, I wouldn't say it's a retelling, it's sort of almost what happens after Pride and Prejudice, with the Prejudice with the character of Charlotte Lucas, focusing on her, and it is just brilliant. I mean, I love Pride and Prejudice anyway. It's not my favourite Jane Austen, but I absolutely adore it. Love Pride and Prejudice, and even if you don't like Pride and Prejudice, I think this is a fantastic standalone novel on its own. And what I love about it is it takes all of the charm and wondrousness of Jane Austen, and it adds a bit of 21st century guts to it, and a bit of sauciness, shall we say. So yeah, this follows the story of Charlotte Lucas after the story of Pride and Prejudice finishes, and some of our favourite characters pop up again in this, and it's just absolutely brilliant. This is a proof copy. It was due to come out in May 2020, but I'm not sure when it is coming out now. I think obviously a lot of publications have been delayed, so yes, I'll try and figure out when this is coming out, and I'll put it on Instagram or something. But yeah, Charlotte by Helen Moffat. Do pick this up when it comes out. It's absolutely bloody brilliant. So the next book I wanted to chat about is Heap House by Edward Carey. So this I picked up because I absolutely adored Little by Edward Carey, the kind of fictionalized story of a young Madame Tussauds. And if you haven't read that, please do. It's absolutely captivating and just bloody brilliant, really. So I thought, I've got to read more by Edward Carey. So I picked this up, and this is this is called Heap House, and this is the first, you can see here, in a trilogy of books called the Ironmonger series. And it still has Edward Carey's quirky, a little bit tilted reality kind of way of writing, and it was just great. I was a bit distracted with this book because I was working a lot, and I was just basically anxious about the state of the world, to be perfectly honest. So it didn't have my full attention, and I feel like if it did, it would have been a 5-star book. But I was a little bit distracted while I was reading it, so not all of it kind of went in. But this has absolutely everything that on paper I would love in a book. And I think if I was to reread it again, I would absolutely devour it and love it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I did love it, but I think I'd love it even more. So this follows the story of like a big house just outside of London, and this weird, huge family that live in this house, and how each member of the family has an object that is like their birth object, and that object is very special to them. And this story follows a group of characters and what happens when one of those birth objects goes missing. So this is just absolutely brilliant. I can't remember what the other 2 books are in this series. I've got them upstairs. But yeah, if you like kind of dark Victorian weirdness, then pick this up because it's absolutely just bloody brilliant. Now then. The next book that I wanted to chat about is Now We Shall Be Entirely Free by Andrew Miller. So I've seen this on quite a few people's channels. I know Katie at Books and Things has discussed this, and I know that Simon spoke about it on his channel because I think he had to read it as part of a book prize that he was judging. So I came to this with quite an open mind, but really looking forward to reading it. It had been on my TBR for quite some time. Now, I think this is set in the Regency period. Where are we? 1809. So I don't know if that's Regency or not. I think it might be a bit early for Regency. But this is basically set in the early 19th century, and it flips between the UK and the war in Europe. And really, that's kind of all I can remember about it. Again, I think it was that I think the plot narrative was just a bit too, the narrative was just a bit too all over the place for me when I wasn't able to concentrate so much on it because of everything else that was going on in the world. I do think this is a brilliant book. I just don't think I read it at the right time for me. As we're coming into autumn, I feel like this is a pretty good autumn book, and it's quite a chunkster if you're looking for quite a meaty historical fiction novel to get into over the autumn curled up in front of your fire. So yeah, do pick this up. I think for me, I just found it a bit difficult to follow what was going on with the characters and sort of where we were and what was happening and who people were and basically just everything. I do think this is a good book, but I just read it at the wrong time, so my fault. Now then, before we knew it, it was Jane Austen July, and I read 2 books for Jane Austen July. I read Lady Susan, which was just like 50 pages, like one of the small Penguin Black Classics, by Jane Austen, which I really loved. If you haven't read that, it's a series of letters written to different people, and I really like that kind of style, so I really enjoyed that. And although I wasn't able to read loads and loads for Jane Austen July, I definitely wanted to take part. But I also wanted to read one of Jane Austen's novels, so I picked up Emma by Jane Austen. So Emma follows the story of a character called Emma, and she is, some people love her, some people hate her. I thought she was pretty funny, to be honest. I thought she was pretty decent. I loved Emma. The character, I mean. The book I found a bit slow and not much happened, especially towards the middle and the end. It's definitely not my favourite Jane Austen, but I still enjoyed it. I just found it a bit slower. And in the end, I've actually still got some of this to read. I think I've still got about 50 pages of this to read, so I haven't actually finished it yet. But yeah, it follows the story of Emma Woodhouse, and she loves setting people up in kind of courtships and marriages, and she makes a bit of an error in telling one of her friends not to accept the proposal of a man in the area that they live, and it kind of all goes on from there. And then that man, no, actually I won't tell you what that man does because that's a bit of a spoiler for anyone who hasn't read it. But I really wanted to pick up one of Jane Austen's actual novels for Jane Austen July, and I'm really pleased I did pick this one up. I will finish it, and then it means that I've read all of Jane Austen's novels apart from Mansfield Park. So yeah, perhaps I'll save that for Jane Austen July next year. But yes, I did enjoy this, and I really enjoyed being able to take part in Jane Austen July. You good girl. I knew you'd come and say hello at some point. Mwah. Right, last book, and this is the book that I'm currently reading, and oh my God, I am loving this. I'm loving it so much. I'm just over halfway through, and it's bloody brilliant. I've heard a lot of people talk about this, mainly Simon from Savage Reads and Lauren from Lauren in the Books. And that is the wonderful, the captivating, the brilliant, the enthralling, the twisty-turny, mysterious Rebecca by Daphne de Mauzé. So I am really super enjoying this. Simon picked this out for me when we went book shopping again in Cambridge, and I'm so pleased that he did, because this is going to become one of my favourite books of all time. This is so atmospheric. And look at that cover. Sorry, yeah, it's so atmospheric. And I can picture the characters so clearly and so easily, which isn't always that easy for me to do. I sometimes struggle to picture characters and sort of what they're wearing, what they look like, what they're sort of feeling, but this book really draws it out, and I absolutely am loving it. I mean, Mrs. Danvers, what even is she, eh? It's weird because when I read this, I picture Mrs. De Winter and Maxim as Claire Foy and Matt Smith in The Crown. That's how I imagine them. I don't know why, that's just the images that I've got in my head. So yeah, I'm really, really, really loving this, and yeah, I can't wait to finish it and basically rave about it in my next wrap-up video, basically. So that's all the books from me. Thank you so, so, so much for joining me. I am going away next week. Well, this coming week, we're going to a cabin in a forest in Shropshire. So we wanted to get away, but we wanted to do it somewhere where we could really easily socially distance. And it's in the middle of a forest, so there's not going to be anyone else around, and there's lots of dog walking and things like that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. So I'm going to vlog that, and that will be up on my channel kind of the tail end of next week. But yes, thank you so, so, so much for sticking around. Sorry it's been so long. I'm so, so pleased to be back. And yeah, I'll speak to you all soon. Thanks very much. Bye. She's a mouse. She's a tiny mouse, and her name is Sally. I love her so much.